Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another video. Today's topic is a bit intense and dear to my heart. It's about how I survived flesh-eating bacteria when I was around the age of 6. Most people don't live to tell their story from flesh-eating bacteria, and the ones that do live, they tend to come out of it very injured and severely disordered physically or even mentally traumatized by the whole experience. Just to give you some background story, I mean, there's tons of scientific medical videos you could watch on flesh-eating bacteria. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it by its scientific name, but in a nutshell, anybody could get it. It's extremely rare, but anybody could get it. It's not contagious, so you don't get it from another human being. Usually a cut on your body or a piece of cut on your skin happens or occurs, and then there's some mutation or there's certain type of bacteria that live on your skin, and they could actually get into the a tissue area of your skin, and they could start eating it up basically and multiplying, and basically within 12 to 24 hours you will die, or you could die from it. And it comes with no warnings at all, unlike other diseases where there's usually a flu-like symptom, or you feel a bit weak. This just comes on, and then from there on is the worst pain you've ever experienced. So to give you context, I grew up in Iran, the poor parts of Tehran, and we weren't really, we weren't in a good situation when I was growing up. And I actually remember that day I came from PE in school. We were doing football, I think, or something. Got home, everything was quite normal. Came to eat. We had rice and beans, really basic stuff. And I do remember I felt a bit weak. I felt a bit sleepy that day, so I decided to go to sleep pretty early. We didn't really have a bed, so it was a roll-up mattress, sleep on the floor in a room with everybody, with my brother, and my mum actually had a bed, but very small bed. Regardless, went to sleep, woke up around 11 o'clock, and I was screaming when I woke up. I was in such a severe pain. I just didn't know what was going on. It felt like my leg was either on fire or I was being eaten alive by something. But I was completely paralyzed from my groin downwards, and my hip was totally paralyzed. So I couldn't move at all, and I was dying of pain. When I woke up, I was already in severe pain, and honestly, it felt like being chewed alive. It felt like somebody was eating your leg while you're alive, and it didn't feel like bite by bite. It felt like millions of little things were on my leg, and they were all chewing my skin. That's how intense it was. Could compare it to being burnt, while you're consciously looking at it and you're there. But yeah, so started screaming. My brother came around to investigate. My mom came to investigate. Unfortunately, none of them believed me. I was a troubled kid. Like to make problems out of nothing. Quite dramatic. But yeah, nobody believed me. And my mom didn't really understand what was going on. She thought I was faking it to not go to school. And in all the meanwhile, I felt like I was dying. I felt like genuinely something was eating me from leg up, and the pain was so severe that I just was screaming in tears, like crying, sobbing and screaming and saying, help me, or take me to hospital, or do something, or something. But yeah, my parents, my mom at the time, I didn't have a dad, didn't really believe me. She dragged me to her room. Don't remember whether I walked. I couldn't walk. I was totally paralyzed. So I think she carried me to her bed and made me bite down on my pillow and just basically deal with the pain till next morning, till she could be asked to drive me to school or hospital, because she thought it would go away, or I was faking it to avoid school, or maybe I was having a bad dream or something. Yeah, throughout the entire night, I cried. I screamed into the pillow, and I was losing my life pretty much very quickly. It got to the point where when the sun came up, I was on loop repeating, "I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying." Um, I just kept repeating that, and unfortunately, my mom wasn't really listening. Um, Around 9, 8, she decided, okay, now it's the school time, and he's still, going on about this. And at that point, the entire bed was wet of sweat, basically, from tears of me, and my body is just losing itself. And my entire skin was gray. It looked like I was on death's door. And then at that point, she called help from neighbors. They came and helped me out, carried me to a car, and then they drove me to a hospital. And mind you, Iranian hospitals weren't really technologically advanced at the time. This must have been like early 2000s, 2001, 2 maybe. And pretty much the first hospital said, we're going to have to immediately cut both my limbs, both of my legs, because by then the infection was spreading from my thigh on the left leg all the way to my groin and hip area, and probably on my other groin as well, and other side of my leg, the other leg basically. I basically blamed my mom, and I said, if you do this, if this happens, this is all on you. I will never forgive you, and I will commit suicide immediately. I am not going to live my life without my limbs because of somebody else's carelessness. So I screamed, demanded to be taken to another hospital. Mind you, I was barely awake. I was actually on death's door. They took me to another hospital. They didn't even recognize what was going on with me, and they didn't know what to do. So they said, we can't help you. We went to another hospital 20 minutes away, and that hospital luckily called the surgeon, who immediately recognized what it was. He drove 30 minutes from his house immediately to come give me a surgery. They put me under surgery immediately, and I don't remember what happened from there on, but what I do remember is it was the most severe pain anybody could ever have, or anybody could go through. And it's one of those things where no warning is given, there is no build up, and you have a very short window of opportunity or time to be taken to hospital before you're dead, or before your legs or limbs are totally gone. I mean, there are stories of people losing all their limbs, hands, both arms, both legs, and people being paralyzed for life, or losing half of their face, and with these sort of things comes organ failures inside. And if your organs start failing, and if the bacteria gets to your organs, that's bad news as well. So not a lot of people come out clean with this. 1 out of 3 people died. The others crippled, damaged for life, traumatized for life, and organ failures and that kind of stuff as well. So luckily that surgeon, took me under the knife, started immediately cutting away just flesh off of my leg, and started removing the infected, rotten tissue. And basically I was in the hospital for 6 months or 7 months, 9+ surgeries, every day, syringes and antibiotics. My leg looked like it was burnt and went through a dog attack, or a pack of dogs attacked me and just chewed up my leg. But it's such a pain that I can still remember the pain. I can still feel the burning sensation on my leg when I think about it. And it's one of those things where I didn't really know when I came to UK how to vocalize what really happened to me. And when you're a kid, you don't remember these scientific terms for what happened to you, especially in another language. And here I definitely didn't know how to express what happened to me until I literally typed my entire story in Google, and then on Reddit there was a forum that said, this is flesh-eating bacteria, this is what it does. And I immediately was like, oh my god, that's literally what happened to me. And seeing the pictures made me just realize, oh my god, that was my leg. It's just my entire thigh was black, from rot and from the bacteria's eating away. And again, they move so quick that you don't get time to react. You you don't think much of it, but the severity of the pain should have been a big red flag immediately for my mom to take me to hospital, but she didn't. And I could have died there. That day I could have died. If I was taken to hospital a bit later, I would have lost my limbs and it would have gone to my organs. Lots of bad things could have happened. But yeah, I stayed in hospital to 6-7 months. After that, I was paralyzed, not paralyzed, I was crippled, so I couldn't walk for another 6-7 months. I was a good sport. I was a good kid in the hospital. I always made fun of stuff, always made jokes. People were crying all around me. I didn't really understand why, because in my world, I survived it, you know. I went through the worst thing on earth pretty much from the first day. And then anything else after it, I mean, the pain is just not even comparable. I mean, now I could have a sprained ankle. To a lot of people, that's a really painful injury. I laugh at it. It doesn't mean anything to me. It literally means nothing. And I don't, you know, I have a different relationship with pain because of that. But yeah, that's my story of surviving flesh-eating bacteria. It's a really fucked up disease. It's a really dangerous, fatal disease that could kill you, and in a really short, limited amount of time. So I don't know what the moral of the story is, but if you've been through similar things, I know there's similar diseases out there that really you only have like a day window to do anything about it, and if you don't, then your life could be over. If you've been through these kind of things, please let me know. I mean, I'd love to hear your stories. I want to hear what other people have gone through with this kind of disease. It is traumatic, and I will never forget the pain. However, I'm quite lucky and quite grateful to that surgeon who saved my life, because if not for him, I mean, at that point, hospitals were turning me away, and the only other option was cutting my limbs off. So yeah, the moral is, I guess, be grateful for medical professionals, because at the end of the day, when shit really hits the fan, they're the only ones that could save you, and be grateful that they exist. We're still friends with that gentleman who saved my life. Really grateful to his existence, and again, I've come out of it quite clean. I got all my limbs, everything is working fine. Not really, you know, got any mental disorders from it. My organs work fine. My left leg is okay. Got lots of stitches, and till like a couple of years ago, my thigh was still numb from just fucking months of antibiotics and whatever else they put in it. There were metals in my leg holding it up together. Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess, but I'm not going to share any pictures of what it looks like, but if you are curious what it looks like, have a look. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But nonetheless, thank you for watching the video. I'm a messed up human being. If you see my other videos, you'll know why. But this channel is about self-recovery, self-improvement, being honest, coming out with my stories. I've not told these stories to anybody. Don't really have many people that would sympathize or could understand what I've gone through or my kind of life. But yeah, if anybody else could sympathize, understand, or wants to talk about these things, happy to do so. Leave a comment below, and I look forward to the next video and sharing more stories with you of just the kind of life I've lived and what we're doing to progress, fight the good fight, and self-improve. Thank you very much, and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you guys. Cheers.